12 minutes after the hour, the anchorman Gary Austin is with us. Good morning, Mr. Austin.
Well, hi, MPS.
Let us bring in, if we can, the Republican Party chair, Ron Weiser from the state of Michigan here, the ambassador, because he's got a very busy week getting ready for the convention this weekend. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Well, what is it like for somebody who's never been to, there are lots of new people, I think, coming into politics these days. They're getting excited about this and that. And what's a convention like, a state party convention?
Oh, it's pretty exciting in many ways. It's like you see on television when you watch the national conventions. There'll be some floor demonstrations for the various candidates where we have competitive races, and lots of activities going on. There's parties on Friday night, and it's a day-long celebration of our gubernatorial candidate and all of our other candidates that come out of this convention.
You're at the Breslin Center in East Lansing, as I understand it, right?
That's correct. It's in the middle of the state, so it's the best place for people to be able to get to without having to spend a lot of money on gas, and they can get there and not be forced to stay overnight.
And the delegates who attend are the ones who will decide who you nominate for Secretary of State and for Attorney General, yes?
For those two offices and for Supreme Court and for all the ed boards, Wayne State and Michigan State and U of M and of course, the State Board of Education.
Pretty big endorsement just before the convention from Terry Lynn Land for Cameron Brown. I mean, is that unusual for the sitting Secretary of State to go ahead and make a nomination? It would seem like it's a powerful leg up, if you'll pardon the words.
Well, I mean, that's her particular choice of the five candidates. They've all been out there. They've all been working hard. They've been meeting the delegates. And in the end run, the delegates make the selection, and I'm sure the endorsement may have an effect on some of them. But at any rate, there's a lot of very hard campaigning going on, and we're more than pleased that there's so many different choices for people to make.
Right down to the wire, it looks like it's going to go. Now, what about the race for Attorney General nomination between Mike Bishop, the Senate Majority Leader, and also Judge Schuette there, Bill Schuette from the Midland area? Mike Bishop was on the program yesterday and said that he's been given some polling data that shows he has a significant lead. I see this morning now he also has the endorsement of Oakland County Sheriff Mike Bouchard. What are you hearing?
Well, we don't look at those polls because the polls are and the polls would have to be not of the general public, but of the people who can vote at the convention, the delegates. And we don't even know who the delegates were going to be until the county conventions took place about 10 days ago. And so those delegates now will go there. The regular delegates that, for whatever reason, can't make it to the convention will be replaced by alternates from their particular county convention. So who that final makeup will be, it's pretty hard for anybody to tell through polling. I know there's polling on all sides here from a variety of candidates, but in the end run, this is all going to be decided on the floor.
What do you think of the idea of Mike Bouchard as a running mate for Rick Snyder?
I think Rick Snyder has to pick the person who can best help him promote his agenda and work with him and moving forward. And I'm sure whoever that candidate's going to be, it'll be somebody that's going to be more than acceptable to our convention.
This governor's race in California is quite interesting. Meg Whitman, the Republican, is going up against Jerry Brown, the longtime political activist there in California, the former governor, the Democrat. From what I understand, Meg Whitman has already spent $100 million, and she's going to spend another $50 million. And Jerry Brown, right now, is virtually in a dead heat with her. What does that say when $100 million going up against a political retread results in only a dead heat?
Well, remember, this is a Democrat state in California. I mean, this is a liberal city out there. I mean, there are way more Democrats than Republicans.
But there's a Republican governor right now, though.
Pardon?
You've got a Republican governor right now, though.
Yeah, but and they've had them in the past. That's because even the Democrats in California eventually get sick and tired of the liberal Democrat spending policies, and unfortunately, there's lots of problems there right now, and I think in a lot of ways the Whitman race with Jerry Brown is very similar to the race we have with Rick Snyder and Mayor Bonero. I mean, we have an outsider, a business person, a job creator who's running against somebody who's a career politician. I mean, Jerry Brown's been coming back from from who knows where to run again, and Mayor Bonero has, and this will be what, his fifth different office in 6 years, or so. I mean, he's about as professional a politician as you can. There's a clear distinction in both those races between the two of them.
Gary Austin, got a minute left if you have a question for the Republican Party Chair, Ron Weiser.
Yeah, hi, Ron. Any surprise here? We had that vote there, the State Board of Canvassers, 2-2, two Dems, two Republicans. The issue, the Tea Party, they deadlock, so off to the State Board of Canvassers it goes. So what happens next?
Well, I mean, it's kind of interesting. I got a report on this, and there was a question asked there of the attorney for the Tea Party, and they said, did you have a convention? Because the convention was supposedly 3 days after the last Board of Canvassers meeting, and he said, yeah. And they said, well, who attended? And they said, well, our three officers. So it was a convention of three people, and the three officers that the Tea Party's reported was the entire convention, and none of the members of the Tea Party in this state were invited or notified.
So do you figure then the State Board of Canvassers then will eventually re-rule on this, or do you think it'll get tossed out in this court that's going to hear it next?
Well, I think it's going to be up to the court to make a decision, and
we'll know that decision as soon as they do. Thank you very much, Chairman Ron Weiser. We'll talk again as the Republican Convention and the Democrat Convention come within days now. It's 18 after the hour.